The stars were calm that night, shining over the blue world of Athiora. The alien queen stood on her high balcony, watching her city glow with silver light. Her name was Queen Serathis, ruler of the Lumari, tall, blue-skinned beings known for peace and wisdom. She had ruled for 1,000 cycles, and peace had been her greatest achievement. But peace never lasts forever. Far beyond the stars, an army was coming. No one expected it, not even the Queen's greatest seers. The enemy came from dark space, a race of conquerors known as the Drexens. They attacked without warning, burning cities, destroying ships, and taking everything they found. Within hours, the skies of Athiora were filled with fire. In the middle of the chaos was Princess Lyra, the Queen's only daughter, young, brave, and full of hope. She wanted to help her people fight. Her mother begged her to stay hidden, but Lyra refused. "If our people bleed, I will stand with them," she said. And before the Queen could stop her, Lyra flew into battle. The Queen waited for news. Days passed, then weeks. Reports came. Ships destroyed, cities fallen, and finally the one message that broke her heart. Lyra's ship was lost in the outer war zone. No signals, no survivors. The Queen's scream echoed through the crystal halls that night. Her daughter was gone. Years went by. The war ended, but victory meant nothing to Queen Serathis. Athiora was rebuilt, but her heart never healed. Statues of the lost princess were raised in every city. The Queen no longer smiled. The stars reminded her of everything she had lost. Far away, on a small human ship drifting through deep space, a man named Captain Ryan Hale was preparing for another mission. He had fought in many wars, seen many worlds, and carried too many scars. He was known among humans as the man who never followed orders, but always got the job done. They called him the Defier. Ryan didn't care about fame or medals. He cared about one thing: saving lives. That was why he was now flying alone, deep beyond known space, searching for a signal. A strange distress call had appeared on human scanners. An alien signal, old and weak, repeating the same word, Lyra. At first, he thought it was just space noise. But something in the tone, a voice buried deep in the transmission, felt alive. He couldn't explain it, but he felt a strange pull, like the signal was calling him personally. Against his commander's orders, he set a new course toward the unknown sector where the signal came from. As his ship entered the dark zone, his computer lights flickered. The stars seemed to vanish. Suddenly, his ship was pulled into a gravity storm. The alarm screamed. Ryan grabbed the controls, fighting to keep the ship steady. Then everything went white. When he woke, the ship was silent. Outside, he saw a world, and not on any map. It glowed softly with blue light, its atmosphere calm but heavy with energy. He didn't know it, but he had reached the forgotten border of Athiora's outer realm. Ryan stepped out in his armored suit, scanning the area. The air shimmered. Strange shapes moved in the mist. Then he saw it. A figure lying among the glowing crystals. It was a girl, blue-skinned, breathing faintly. She looked young, maybe 16 by human age. Her silver hair tangled, her skin marked with light scars. Ryan knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" The girl's eyes opened, bright silver, glowing softly. She whispered something he didn't understand. Her voice was weak, but one word came clear. "Mother." Ryan realized she wasn't human, and that single word changed everything. He carried her back to the ship, wrapping her in a thermal blanket. The computer scanned her DNA and came up with a name in the old galactic archive: Princess Lyra of the Lumari, presumed dead. Ryan froze. This wasn't just an alien girl. She was royalty, the daughter of the most powerful queen in that region of the galaxy. He didn't know how she ended up here or how she survived, but one thing was clear: he couldn't leave her behind. He had to bring her home. As he lifted off the planet, Lyra opened her eyes again. "Who are you?" she asked softly. "Ryan," he said. "A human. I'm taking you home." Her eyes widened. Home is gone. He looked at her, determined. "Then we'll find it again." And so began the journey of a human who would defy the stars and an alien princess who carried the key to peace or destruction. Neither knew what awaited them, but destiny had already begun to write their story across the galaxies. The ship drifted through the quiet edge of space. Ryan sat in the pilot's chair, watching the stars slide past. Behind him, the girl, Lyra, slept inside the medical chamber. Her breathing was soft but steady now. The scanner showed that her body was healing fast, much faster than any human could. Alien energy shimmered under her skin like light trapped in glass. Ryan didn't know what to think. He had rescued soldiers, engineers, and even diplomats before, but never a princess and never an alien one. He looked at her and wondered how she had survived all these years when her entire world thought she was dead. He leaned back, rubbing his face. "What did I just get myself into?" he muttered. The ship's AI voice responded calmly. "Captain, you are currently harboring a classified alien life form. Protocol suggests contacting command." Ryan sighed. "Yeah, and tell them what? That I found a lost princess from another galaxy? They'd lock me up before they believed me." The AI paused. "Then what is the plan?" Ryan stared out the window. "I'm taking her home." Hours passed. When Lyra finally woke, she looked around the ship with wide, curious eyes. Her voice was quiet, but her words were careful, almost formal. "You are human?" Ryan nodded. "That's right. Name's Ryan Hale, you?" She hesitated, then said, "Lyra of House Sarathis, daughter of Queen Sarathis of Athiora." Ryan smiled slightly. "That's a lot of titles. You can just say Lyra." She tilted her head, studying him. "Why did you help me?" He shrugged. "Because you needed it." She blinked. "Humans fight for gain. You risked your life for me." "Not all of us fight for gain," he said quietly. "Some of us fight so others can live." For the first time she smiled, a small gentle smile that lit her face like dawn on glass. "You speak like one who has lost much," she said. He didn't answer. He just looked away. Suddenly, the ship's warning lights flashed red. The AI spoke sharply. "Multiple ships detected on intercept course." Ryan's heart jumped. "Who is it?" "Unknown," the AI replied. Their signatures match no human or Lumari design. Lyra's eyes widened in fear. "The Drexens," she whispered. "They still hunt me." Ryan turned to her. "The same ones who attacked your world." She nodded. "They wanted to capture me. They needed the royal blood to control Athiora's power source. The Heart of Light." Ryan cursed under his breath. Guess they didn't give up. He grabbed the controls, pulling the ship into a dive. Blue light streaked past as plasma fire exploded outside. The enemy ships were fast, small, and deadly. Ryan pushed the engines to full power, flying through an asteroid belt to shake them off. The ship rattled and groaned. "Hold on," he shouted. Lyra gripped the seat beside him. "You cannot outrun them. They will destroy us." "Not if I can help it," he said. He pulled the ship into a sharp turn between two giant rocks, causing the enemy fire to miss by inches. A blast hit their rear thrusters and alarms screamed. The AI announced, "Shields at 30%. Ryan's hands moved fast across the controls. He released decoy drones, sending out fake signals. Two of the enemy ships followed the decoys into a collision course with the asteroids. The explosion shook the field. Lyra gasped as light filled the cabin. "You destroyed them?" Ryan grinned slightly. "Two down. One to go." The last enemy ship came in close, firing again. Ryan's ship trembled. A fire broke out in the rear bay. He switched control to manual and turned the ship around sharply. "What are you doing?" Lyra shouted. "Ending this," he said. He faced the enemy head-on and fired both plasma cannons. The blast tore through the enemy ship's core and it vanished into a burst of blue flame. Silence filled the cabin. Ryan's breath came heavy. Lyra looked at him with awe. "You fought them like a warrior of legend," she said softly. He laughed faintly. "Nah, I just hate losing." The AI spoke again, calm but serious. "Damage critical. We must find a repair station." Ryan nodded. "Nearest safe zone?" The AI displayed a map. Uncharted moon 5 hours away. "Set course," he said. As they traveled, Lyra sat near the window watching the stars. "When I was small," she said, "my mother told me humans were dangerous, selfish, cruel. But you are different." Ryan looked at her. "Maybe your mother was right about some of us, but maybe not about all." She turned to him, her silver eyes soft. "Then I hope she will meet you. You may change her mind," he smiled quietly. "If I can get you home, that's all the change I need." The ship entered orbit around a lonely moon surrounded by soft rings of ice. As they landed, the lights dimmed and the engines went silent. Ryan stepped out to check for supplies. The air was thin but breathable. Strange blue crystals grew across the surface, humming softly in the wind. Lyra followed him out, her eyes glowing faintly in the starlight. "This place feels alive," she whispered. "It's safe enough for now," Ryan said. We'll rest here and fix the engines. He looked up at the sky, endless stars stretching across blackness. Somewhere out there, a queen still mourned her daughter, and somewhere enemies still hunted her. Ryan didn't know how he'd face them all, but he knew one thing. He had given his word. He would bring her home no matter what the stars demanded. The moon's surface glowed softly under a pale blue sky. Ryan stood beside his ship, the Vanguard, checking the damaged thrusters. Sparks flew when he tried to reconnect a power line. Great, he muttered. Half the systems are fried. Lyra sat on a nearby rock watching him work. Her silver hair caught the faint starlight, and her eyes reflected the icy rings above them. You fix things like a craftsman, she said softly. He smiled without looking up. When you spend your life getting shot at, you learn to fix what breaks. She tilted her head. Humans are always fighting. Why? He paused. Because peace never lasts long. Someone always wants more. She looked down. It is the same for us. The wind was thin but cold. Strange sounds whispered across the moon's surface like the hum of buried energy. Ryan glanced around. You said this place feels alive. What did you mean? Lyra closed her eyes, sensing the air. This moon carries Lumari energy. Our ancestors used to hide relics on worlds like this. Secret places tied to the heart of light. Ryan frowned. That same power the Drexens wanted? She nodded. Yes, the heart of light can create life. Or destroy it. Only royal blood can unlock its full strength. That is why they wanted me alive. Ryan stood up slowly. So they're still hunting you because of what you can do. Her voice was quiet. Because of what I am. Suddenly his scanner beeped. He checked the screen and froze. We've got movement. Something underground. Before he could react, the ground trembled. Blue dust rose in waves. The earth split open, and from the crack, strange metallic shapes emerged. Tall, insect-like machines with glowing red eyes. Drexen scouts. Lyra gasped. Ryan pulled his blaster from the holster. So much for rest. The machines screeched and charged. Ryan fired rapidly, bolts of light tearing through the thin air. The first machine exploded, scattering shards of metal. 2 more climbed out of the crater. One lunged at him. Ryan rolled aside, firing again. The blast hit the creature's chest, but it kept coming. Run! He shouted. Lyra raised her hands, and her skin began to glow with soft blue light. Energy gathered around her palms. She whispered something in her native language, and a wave of force burst outward, knocking the machines back into the pit. Ryan stared, wide-eyed. What was that? She breathed heavily. A gift from my mother. The power of our bloodline. Well, remind me to stay on your good side, he said, grinning slightly. But the ground shook again. This time a larger shape rose. A Drexen sentinel twice the size of the others, armed with plasma cannons. Ryan cursed under his breath. We can't fight that. Lyra's glow dimmed. My strength is fading. He grabbed her hand. Then we move now. They ran back to the Vanguard, climbing inside just as the sentinel fired. The blast hit the ground behind them, sending rocks flying. Ryan jumped into the pilot's seat and powered the engines. The ship roared, struggling to lift off. Come on, come on! He shouted, slamming the throttle. The ship rose shakily into the sky, flames flickering from damaged thrusters. Another shot from the sentinel missed them by inches. Ryan gritted his teeth and pushed harder. The Vanguard broke free from the moon's gravity, leaving behind trails of fire. Inside, Lyra sat silently, her hands trembling. Ryan glanced back. You okay? She nodded weakly. I use too much energy. It drains my life when I call the old power. Then don't use it again unless you have to, he said. Her eyes met his. If it saves you, I will. Ryan didn't reply. He focused on the stars ahead. But inside something stirred, respect and something more. He had seen courage before, but never like this. Hours later, the ship drifted through a quiet sector of space. The AI spoke calmly. Captain, a signal has been detected. Unknown origin, Ryan frowned. Another distress call? No, the AI said. It appears to be a message. Encoded in Lumari language, Lyra leaned forward. Let me hear it. The voice that filled the cabin was soft and melodic, Mori, but filled with sorrow. To all who still live, this is Queen Sarathis. The heart of light is fading. Our world is dying. If my daughter lives, I beg her to return. Atheora needs her. Lyra covered her mouth. My mother. Her voice broke. Tears glimmered in her eyes. Ryan listened quietly. She's alive. Yes, Lyra whispered. And she still believes I can save our world. He stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. Then that's what we'll do. We'll bring you home. She looked up at him, her expression mixed with fear and hope. The Drexens will not let us reach Theora. They will destroy anything that tries. Ryan smiled faintly. They'll have to catch me first. The AI interrupted. Captain, intercept signals detected again. Drexen fleet on long-range scan and approaching fast. Ryan exhaled sharply. Of course they are. He turned to Lyra. We can't go straight to your world. We'll need to find allies. Someone who still believes in the Lumari cause. Lyra nodded slowly. There is one. A guardian of my people. His name is Kale. He once protected the royal line. Where do we find him? On the world of Therion. The edge of the Orion belt, she said. Ryan set the coordinates. Then that's where we're headed. As the Vanguard jumped into warp space, Lyra looked out at the swirling lights of hyperspace. Why do you risk your life for me, human? She asked softly. Ryan smiled without turning. Because somewhere out there, a mother's waiting for her daughter, and I don't break promises. The stars stretched and vanished as they entered the endless blue of warp travel. Two souls bound by fate, heading into the unknown. The Vanguard emerged from warp space with a flash of light, entering the dark skies of Therion, a planet covered in storm clouds and silver deserts. Lightning flickered across the horizon, and a network of ancient alien ruins glowed faintly below. Ryan looked out from the cockpit window. This place looks like it's been dead for 1,000 years. Lyra stared down at the surface. Therion was once a guardian world. My people left protectors here, warriors who swore loyalty to my family. If Kale still lives, he will help us. Ryan adjusted the controls. Let's hope he's still friendly. As the ship descended through the storm, wind shook the hull. The Vanguard landed on a plateau surrounded by tall crystal spires. The air outside shimmered like thin fog. Ryan grabbed his blaster and Lyra carried a small glowing orb that seemed to react to her touch. They stepped out into the storm. The ground hummed beneath their boots and the sky rumbled with quiet thunder. Stay close, Ryan said. I can feel him, Lyra whispered. Kyle's presence is near. As they walked through the ruins, strange lights flickered between the stones, blue sparks floating like tiny spirits. Then a voice echoed through the air. You should not have come here. Ryan spun around, gun raised. A tall figure stepped out from behind a pillar. His armor was black and silver, marked with Lumari symbols. His eyes glowed faintly gold. He looked almost human, but his skin shimmered faintly like crystal. Lyra gasped. Kyle! The figure froze. For a moment he didn't believe what he saw. Then he dropped to one knee. Princess Lyra? By the stars, it truly is you. Ryan lowered his weapon slightly but kept his guard. Kale stood studying the human carefully. And you are the one who brought her here. Ryan nodded. Name's Ryan Hale, I found her alive. I'm trying to get her home. Kyle frowned. Home no longer exists as it once did. The Drexens took much from us. Lyra stepped closer. We heard my mother's message. She's alive. Kale's expression darkened. Yes, but she is not the queen you remember. The war changed her. She hides now within the ruins of the Crystal City, surrounded by her last defenders. The Heart of Light is dying, and without it, Theora will collapse, Ryan asked. Then how do we reach her? Kale hesitated. The path is guarded, not by soldiers, but by the shadows of the past. The Drexens control the outer systems. You will not survive the journey unless... He looked at Ryan. Unless the human proves himself. Ryan crossed his arms. Prove myself how? Kale raised his hand. A glowing blade of energy formed in his palm. Show me you have the strength to protect her. Before Ryan could answer, Kale lunged. The glowing blade struck near Ryan's shoulder. Ryan rolled aside and drew his blaster, firing a short burst that Kale deflected with a shield of light. The sound of plasma fire echoed through the ruins. Stop! Lyra shouted. He is my protector. But Kale didn't stop. He moved faster than Ryan could track. Ryan ducked behind a fallen stone. If this is your friend, he shouted. He's got a weird way of saying hello. Kale's voice was calm but stern. Words mean nothing in war. Only will. Ryan waited until Kale stepped into view. Then he kicked up a cloud of dust and charged forward, tackling the Guardian to the ground. His blaster fell, but he pinned Kale with sheer strength. I didn't come this far to hurt her, Ryan growled. I came to save her. Lyra ran forward, placing her hand between them. Her palm glowed bright blue, and both men froze as energy spread across the ground like rippling water. "Enough," she said firmly. "We fight the same war. We want the same peace." Kyle looked into her glowing eyes and slowly nodded. "You have your mother's fire." He rose to his feet and extended his hand to Ryan. "Forgive me, human. I needed to see your heart." Ryan took the hand. "Next time, just ask." Kale smiled faintly. "Come. There is something you both must see." He led them through the ruins to a hidden chamber. Inside, the walls were covered with ancient carvings of stars, planets, and a shining crystal at the center, the heart of light. In the middle of the room floated a small orb of white flame. "This is a fragment of the heart," Kale said. "I have kept it safe since the fall of Atheora. It can guide you to the Queen, but once you take it, the Drexens will know you live." Lyra reached out and touched the flame. It flared to life, filling the chamber with brilliant light. The carvings glowed, revealing a map, a path through the stars leading straight to Atheora. Ryan stared in awe. "That's our route home." Kyle nodded. "But you must leave now. The Drexen sensors will detect the heart's awakening." As if on cue, a deep rumble shook the ground. The AI on Ryan's wristband spoke. "Captain, incoming signals. Multiple enemy ships inbound." Ryan drew his weapon. "We've been found." Kyle turned toward Lyra. "Princess, go." "I will delay them." Lyra shook her head. "I cannot leave you again." "You must," Kale said firmly. "Your destiny is greater than mine." He looked at Ryan. "Protect her, human. Until the end." Ryan nodded once. "You have my word." They ran back to the vanguard as explosions lit the sky. Kale stayed behind, summoning walls of light to block the incoming fire. Lyra turned back one last time, tears in her eyes as Kale's figure vanished in the storm. The ship lifted off, flames trailing behind it. Ryan looked at Lyra, who held the glowing orb close to her chest. "We've got the map," he said. "Now let's bring you home." Outside, the Drexen fleet closed in, but the vanguard was already gone, lost in the stars once more. The stars blurred as the vanguard rushed through hyperspace. Inside, the cabin lights flickered in rhythm with the ship's damaged engines. Ryan sat at the controls, focused and silent. Lyra sat beside him, holding the glowing fragment of the heart of light. It pulsed like it was alive, as if it could feel their fear. Neither spoke for a while. The sound of the engines filled the silence. Finally, Ryan said, "We'll reach the Atheora system in a few hours if the engines hold." Lyra nodded, her gaze fixed on the flickering orb. "Kyle sacrificed himself for this. His light will not fade in vain." Ryan looked at her quietly. "He believed in you. I can see why." She turned to him, her silver eyes reflecting the glow of the stars. "Why do you care so much, human?" "My world is not yours," he hesitated. "Because I've seen too many worlds die while people did nothing. Maybe this time I can help stop it." A soft smile touched her lips. "You sound like a warrior of the old legends." Ryan gave a half smile. "Legends are just people who didn't quit." Suddenly, the AI's voice broke the calm. "Captain, long-range sensors detect multiple ships emerging from warp." Ryan's expression hardened. "Drexens?" "Confirmed," the AI replied. 8 ships. "Intercept course." Lyra gripped the armrest. They followed the heart's energy. Ryan flipped a switch and powered the shields. "They're fast, but not faster than me." The stars snapped back into view as he dropped the ship out of warp. The blackness of space filled the screen, and in it 8 Drexen warships appeared, surrounding them in a perfect circle. Lyra's voice trembled. "We are trapped." Ryan cracked his knuckles. "Not yet." He threw the ship into a hard spin and fired the thrusters. Blue flame erupted behind them as plasma bolts cut through the darkness. The vanguard dodged between beams of light, barely missing destruction. The AI shouted, "Shields at 60%. Ryan gritted his teeth. "Hold together, old girl." He fired back with the main cannons, hitting one of the smaller Drexen ships. It exploded into a burst of green fire. Lyra gasped as debris scattered across space. "That's one," Ryan muttered, but the others closed in. Their leadership, twice as large as the rest, opened a comm link. A harsh metallic voice echoed through the speakers. "Human vessel, surrender the royal heir." "Her blood belongs to us," Ryan smirked. "You'll have to come and take her." "Captain," the AI warned, "their main cannon is charging." Ryan turned to Lyra. "Get to the back now." A massive blast of energy tore through the void. grazing the Vanguard's side. Alarm screamed. Fire burst from the right wing. Ryan fought the controls as the ship spiraled downward toward a nearby planet, a world covered in swirling red clouds. "Brace for impact," he shouted. The ship broke through the atmosphere, smoke trailing behind. The ground rushed up fast. The Vanguard slammed into a canyon floor, sliding across rock and dust until it came to a stop. Silence followed, broken only by the crackle of fire. Ryan groaned, unbuckling himself. "Still alive?" Lyra coughed but nodded. "Yes." She looked out the window. "Where are we?" The AI answered weakly. "Planet designation unknown. Surface unstable. Atmosphere breathable for limited time." Ryan grabbed his blaster and opened the hatch. "We can't stay here. Those Drexens will land soon." They climbed out into the canyon. The sky was dark red, filled with dust storms and lightning flashes. The ground pulsed faintly beneath their boots and like something alive. Lyra frowned. "This world feels wrong." Ryan looked around. "Let's find cover." They walked along the canyon wall until they found a cave glowing faintly with blue light. Inside, strange crystal veins lined the walls, humming with low energy. Ryan set up a small beacon and checked the ship from a distance. "Engines are gone. We're grounded." Lyra placed her hand on the crystal. "This energy is familiar. It comes from the heart." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "You mean this planet's connected to your world?" "Yes," she said softly. "Maybe it was once part of the same system, long ago." As they explored deeper, the cave widened into a huge chamber filled with floating crystals. In the center was a pedestal with ancient markings glowing faintly. Lyra stepped closer, reading them aloud in her language. The symbols shifted, revealing a message written by her ancestors. Her eyes widened. "This is one of the lost waypoints. The Guardians built them to protect the path to the heart." Ryan crossed his arms. "So this wasn't an accident. The map brought us here." "Yes," she said. "But not just to guide us, to test us." Before Ryan could ask, the ground trembled. From the walls, giant crystal creatures began to form, shaped like knights, their bodies shining with light. Ryan drew his blaster. "Great, another welcoming committee." Lyra shook her head. "They are protectors. They test our worth. They don't look friendly." The first creature swung its massive arm. Ryan dodged and fired, but the bolts only bounced off its body. Lyra raised the heart fragment and its light grew stronger. The creatures paused. "They recognize the royal blood," she said. The biggest one stepped forward and knelt before her. Its voice was deep and echoing. "Daughter of Sarathis, the path to the heart awaits. But beware, the darkness has already touched your mother." Ryan frowned. "What does that mean?" The creature's eyes dimmed. "She no longer fights for light alone. The heart has changed her." Before they could ask more, the chamber began to collapse. The creatures turned to stone and shattered. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand. "Time to go." They ran out as the cave exploded behind them, dust filling the sky. Outside, distant thunder echoed, and in the sky above, Drexen ships were descending. Ryan looked up grimly. "They found us again." Lyra held the glowing heart fragment close to her chest. "Then we run until we reach my mother." Ryan nodded, gripping his weapon. "And we finish this." The two of them ran toward the horizon, lightning flashing behind them. A human and an alien princess racing against time and fate, their bond stronger than fear, their mission far from over. The storm raged over the red planet as Ryan and Lyra ran through the dust. The wind howled like a living thing, pulling at their clothes and hair. Behind them, Drexen ships roared through the sky, beams of green light slicing across the ground. Ryan pulled Lyra behind a rock formation just as an explosion tore through the canyon. "They're too close," he said, panting. Lyra looked at the glowing fragment in her hand. "The heart's energy is leading them to us." "I can feel it," Ryan nodded. "Then we hide it." He took his jacket off and wrapped it tightly around the fragment, dimming its light. "There. Maybe now they'll lose the trail." Lyra looked at him, her face streaked with dust. "You think like a soldier." Ryan smirked faintly. Old habits, the ground shook again. A Drexen scout craft hovered above them, searching with bright blue spotlights. Ryan aimed his blaster. "We can't stay here." He fired at a nearby rock tower, causing it to collapse. The falling debris blocked the scanner's line of sight. The ship passed overhead, unable to find them. When the noise faded, Lyra turned to him. There's a cave system ahead, she said, pointing. The heart fragment showed me a path. Ryan sighed. If your magic rock says it's safe, I'll trust it. They followed a narrow tunnel deeper underground. The walls glowed with faint veins of light, like the moon they had visited before. The air was warm and heavy. Soon the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber filled with broken technology, ancient machines covered in dust and moss. Lyra stepped forward slowly. This place, it was built by my people, before the war. Ryan looked around. Looks like an outpost, maybe a research station. She touched a console and the ancient system flickered to life. Holograms appeared, blue shapes of Lumari scientists and warriors moving in silence. A message began to play. A female voice echoed through the room. This is Captain Salura of the Lumari outpost Therion 6. The heart's power is changing. It no longer obeys the Queen's will. If she continues to use it, she will lose herself. Lyra's eyes widened. My mother? Ryan frowned. Lose herself how? The hologram continued, its tone full of fear. The heart is alive. It feeds on emotion, sorrow, anger, hope. The Queen's pain after losing her daughter awakened something inside it. Now it whispers to her. We cannot stop it. The recording ended. The room fell silent. Lyra stood still, her face pale. She used the heart to protect our world, but it must have consumed her grief. Ryan stepped closer. So she's still alive, but maybe not the same person? Yes, Lyra whispered. The mother I knew might be gone. He put a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll find her, and we'll bring her back. Suddenly, the console lights flickered again. The AI voice of the Vanguard spoke through Ryan's wristband. Captain, multiple Drexen lifeforms approaching the entrance. They've found you. Ryan cursed softly. They never quit. He grabbed Lyra's hand. We need another exit. She looked at the glowing map on the wall. There is a path through the old tunnels beneath the outpost. It leads to the surface, near a hidden launch pad. Perfect, he said. Move. They sprinted down the narrow passage as Drexen soldiers broke through the upper tunnels, firing plasma rounds that burned through the air. Ryan fired back, hitting one in the chest. The explosion lit the tunnel with green fire. Keep going, he shouted. Lyra turned and raised her hand. Her eyes glowed bright silver and a wave of blue light blasted down the tunnel, knocking several Drexens off their feet. But she staggered, breathing hard. Ryan caught her before she fell. Easy, you're burning yourself out. I'm fine, she whispered. We have to reach the pad. They ran until the tunnel opened into a massive underground hangar. In the center stood an old Lumari ship covered in dust and vines. Its wings were shaped like crystals, and faint light pulsed from within. Ryan grinned. Please tell me that thing still works. Lyra smiled weakly. It's powered by the heart's energy. If I connect the fragment, it might fly. The Drexen's footsteps echoed behind them. Ryan ran to the ship's ramp while Lyra placed the glowing fragment into a round socket near the control panel. The ship hummed to life, light flowing through its frame like blood. Get inside, she shouted. Ryan jumped aboard just as the first Drexen burst through the tunnel. He fired at them while the engines roared louder. The ship lifted from the ground, shaking the dust from the ceiling. Hold on, Lyra cried. The ship shot upward through a vertical shaft, bursting through the surface in a beam of blue light. They rose high into the red sky, leaving the Drexens far below. Ryan laughed breathlessly. You weren't kidding. This thing flies. Lyra smiled, exhaustion in her voice. It's called the Luminaries, a royal craft. It was waiting for us. The AI's voice returned. Captain, tracking systems restored. The Drexen fleet is regrouping in orbit. They will pursue again. Ryan clenched his fists. Then we'll outrun them. Lyra looked out the window as stars appeared through the fading red clouds. Ryan, when we reach my mother, if she truly is lost to the heart's darkness, what will you do? He looked straight ahead. Then I'll do what I came here to do, protect you, even from her if I have to. She stared at him, sadness in her eyes. I hope it doesn't come to that. He nodded. Me too. The luminaries broke free from the planet's gravity, its blue trail glowing behind it like a comet. Ahead of them lay the final path to Athiora, and the queen who might no longer be a queen at all. The luminaries cut through the silence of space like a blue flame. Ryan sat in the pilot's seat, eyes locked on the glowing map ahead. At the center of the hologram, a single bright star pulsed slowly. Athiora. It had taken them weeks of running, hiding, and fighting to reach this point. Lyra sat beside him, her hands folded around the heart fragment, which now shone more brightly than ever. Its light spread across her palms like living fire. Ryan glanced at her. That thing's reacting stronger the closer we get. Lyra nodded. It feels alive, like it knows we're home. He frowned slightly. Let's hope your mother feels the same way. As they neared Athiora's orbit, the view filled the screen, a once golden world now scarred with black lines that cut across continents. What used to be glowing crystal cities were now shadows surrounded by ash. Lyra pressed a hand against the glass. My home, it's dying. Ryan stared quietly. We'll fix it. The AI interrupted. Captain, I detect strong energy fields across the surface. Multiple defense drones are active. No communication signals are open. Ryan muttered. She's blocking the outside world. Lyra closed her eyes. The heart protects her and traps her. We must go to the Crystal City. That's where she is. Ryan adjusted the controls. Then let's bring this bird in. The luminaries entered the atmosphere, flames burning along its hull as it cut through the thick clouds. The world below looked like twilight, dim light, dark skies, and distant towers glowing faintly in the mist. They landed near what was once the royal palace, now half buried in crystal growths. When they stepped outside, the air shimmered faintly with energy. The ground glowed beneath their boots. Strange vines of living crystal climbed over broken walls. It was both beautiful and haunting. Lyra looked around slowly. I used to play here as a child. Now it feels like a dream. Ryan kept his weapon ready. Stay alert. We don't know what's waiting. They crossed a courtyard filled with cracked statues, Lumari warriors frozen in place as if time itself had stopped them. At the end stood a giant crystal gate pulsing with blue light. Lyra approached, and the heart fragment in her hands began to hum. A deep voice echoed through the air. Who dares disturb the Queen's silence? Ryan froze. Figures emerged from the mist. Lumari guards, their armor blackened, their eyes glowing faint red. They looked alive, yet hollow. Lyra stepped forward. I am Lyra, daughter of Queen Sarathis. I have returned. The guards paused, then one of them spoke in a low, distorted tone. The daughter is gone. Only the heart remains. Ryan whispered, They're not themselves. No, Lyra said softly. The heart has taken their minds. The guards raised their weapons. Before they could fire, Lyra lifted the fragment high. Its light burst outward, forming a shield of blue energy. The guards staggered back, blinded by its glow. Ryan grabbed her arm. Go, now! They ran through the gate as the crystal doors sealed behind them. Inside, the palace was filled with floating shards of light. The air buzzed with energy. At the center of the grand hall stood a throne made of pure crystal, and on it, a figure sat motionless. Queen Sarathis. Her long white hair floated like smoke. Her skin glowed faint blue and her eyes burned with unnatural light. The air around her shimmered, and the floor cracked with each breath she took. She looked both beautiful and terrifying, a being half flesh, half energy. Lyra stepped forward slowly, her voice trembling. Mother. The Queen's eyes opened. The glow inside them was blinding. Lyra. Her voice was soft but echoed through the entire hall. My child. I thought you were gone. Tears filled Lyra's eyes. I was lost, but this human found me. He brought me home. She looked back at Ryan, then at her mother again. Please, mother, come with us. The war is over. The queen rose from the throne. Her movement was graceful but heavy with power. The war never ends, my daughter. The heart speaks to me, it shows me everything. The Drexens will come again, only I can protect our people. Ryan stepped forward. At what cost? You're destroying your own world. Her gaze shifted to him. The air grew cold. A human, she said with quiet disgust. You brought a human into my palace? He saved me, Lyra cried. He saved us both. The queen's voice turned sharp. Humans bring death. They burn stars and call it peace. Ryan didn't flinch. Maybe, but this time one human brought life back to your daughter. The queen hesitated. For a moment her expression softened. Then the glow in her eyes pulsed stronger. You cannot take her from me again. The heart will not allow it. The walls began to shake. Crystals grew from the floor, spreading like roots. Lyra screamed as energy surrounded her mother, twisting the light into dark patterns. Ryan pulled Lyra back. She's losing control. No, Lyra cried. I can reach her. She ran forward, holding the heart fragment high. Its light grew brighter, pushing back the darkness swirling around the queen. Mother, listen to me. I'm alive. I'm here. For a second, the queen's eyes flickered, light against shadow. Her voice softened. Lyra, Ryan shouted. Now, whatever you're doing, keep going. Lyra's glow intensified until it filled the entire hall. The heart fragment fused with the queen's aura, and the room exploded in light. Ryan shielded his eyes as everything went white. When the light faded, the queen stood trembling, her eyes no longer glowing, only tired and human once more. She looked at Lyra with tears streaming down her face. My child, I remember. Lyra hugged her tightly, sobbing. You're free, mother. But Ryan noticed something. The palace walls were cracking. The energy that had kept Therion alive was collapsing. He looked at the glowing heart, now dim and unstable. Lyra, we've got a problem. This place is coming down, the queen whispered. The heart cannot survive without balance. You must take it and far from here. Lyra looked at her, horrified. No, mother, I can't leave you again. You must, the queen said softly. You are the last light of Therion. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand. We have to go, now. As they ran toward the exit, the queen smiled faintly, watching her daughter disappear into the light. Live well, my child, she whispered before the crystal hall shattered around her. The luminaries lifted off from the dying world moments later. Ryan and Lyra watched as Therion began to fade beneath them, glowing softly, as if saying goodbye. The stars were quiet again. Ryan sat in the luminaries cockpit, watching the dying light of Therion fade behind them. The once shining world now looked peaceful, like a candle going out. Beside him, Lyra sat silently, her hands resting on the glowing heart fragment that now pulsed faintly. Weaker, but still alive. Neither spoke for a long time. The hum of the ship was the only sound. Finally, Ryan said, She saved you. She saved us all. Lyra nodded slowly. And now her light is part of the stars. He glanced at her. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried sorrow and strength mixed together. Your mother wanted you to live. She knew this was the only way. Lyra touched the heart. The heart still carries her energy. It wants to live too. But it's unstable. If it breaks, it could destroy every world nearby. Ryan frowned. So what are our options? There are two. She said softly. We can destroy it, end its power forever. Or we can give it a new home, somewhere it can rest without hurting anyone. He leaned back, staring at the stars. You think it deserves a second chance? It's not evil, she said. It only reflected what it was given. My mother's grief made it dark. Maybe hope can make it light again. Ryan smiled faintly. You sound like her. Maybe, Lyra whispered. But I am not a queen. Not yet. The AI's calm voice interrupted. Captain, long-range sensors detect movement. A small Drexen ship has followed us from orbit. Ryan cursed under his breath. They never quit. He grabbed the controls. We'll outrun them. But the ship's lights flickered. The Luminaries was running on minimal power. Engines won't last long, the AI warned. Lyra placed her hand over the heart. I can give it power, just enough. Ryan shook his head. You'll burn yourself out. I can handle it, she said firmly. We have to finish this. Energy poured from her hands into the ship's core. The Luminaris roared back to life, blue fire blazing from its engines. Ryan steered hard, spinning through asteroid fields as plasma fire flashed behind them. The Drexen ship closed in fast. They want the heart, Ryan said. They'll chase us forever if we keep it. Lyra looked at the glowing crystal. Then we end it now. She stood, walking to the center console. Take us to the nearest star, she said. Ryan blinked. You're not thinking. Yes, she said. The heart was born from the light of a star. That's where it belongs. Ryan gritted his teeth. You're sure? She nodded. If we return it to the light, its power will be pure again. But someone must guide it, close enough to the core. He stood, understanding what she meant. No, not you. She looked at him, calm and certain. It must be me. Only royal blood can release it safely. Ryan clenched his fists. I didn't come this far to lose you too, she smiled softly. You didn't come this far to fail your promise either. He stared at her for a long moment, then sighed. I hate it when you're right. The Luminaries turned toward a massive golden star ahead. Its light filled the cabin, bright and endless. The Drexen ship still followed, but Ryan ignored it. This was their final flight. As they neared the star, Lyra walked to the rear bay. The heart fragment floated above her hands, glowing brighter with every second. The air around her shimmered. Ryan joined her. If this doesn't work, it will, she said softly, because you believe it will. He didn't argue. He just looked at her, this young alien girl who had changed everything. You know, he said quietly, humans tell stories about heroes who defy the stars. I never thought I'd live one. Lyra smiled. Then let it be remembered that a human warrior brought light back to the galaxy. The doors opened. Pure golden light poured in, bathing them both. Ryan held her hand tightly one last time. Come back to me, he whispered. I'll try, she said. And then she stepped forward. The heart's glow surrounded her, wrapping her in waves of energy. For a moment, her body became light itself. She floated out into the brightness, carrying the crystal toward the star's edge. The Drexen ship fired one last desperate shot. But before it hit, the heart released a burst of pure energy. A shockwave spread across the void, disintegrating the Drexen ship and washing over the Luminaries. The light filled everything. Ryan covered his eyes, calling her name, but there was no answer. Then silence. When the light faded, the heart was gone. The star burned brighter than before, steady and calm. Ryan sat on the floor of the bay, breathing hard. You did it, he whispered. Moments later, a faint voice echoed through the ship's comms. Soft, familiar. Ryan, he looked up sharply. Lyra? A small sphere of light floated into the room, glowing with her gentle voice. I am here. The heart is part of me now. The light will live on, and so will I. He smiled sadly. Guess I'll see you in the stars, Princess. Always, the voice said. The Luminaris drifted quietly through space, its hull glowing faint blue from the lingering energy. Ryan looked out at the endless horizon of light. For the first time in years, he felt peace. He whispered to himself, the human warrior who defied the stars, he smiled faintly, and brought the light home. The camera of the universe pulled back, one small ship sailing through the golden sea of stars, carrying the story of a human's promise, an alien's hope, and a queen's final love. And far ahead, a faint glimmer shone. The reborn light of Athiora, rising again,